Episode 16 of The Twilight Zone, The Hitch-hiker, starring a rare female antagonist by the name of Nan Adams. And I'll let Mr. Rod Serling set the stage with his opening narration.
Her name is Nan Adams. She's 27 years old. Her occupation, buyer at a New York department store. At present on vacation, driving cross-country to Los Angeles, California from Manhattan. Minor incident on Highway 11 in Pennsylvania. Perhaps to be filed away under accident you'd walk away from. But from this moment on, Nan Adams' companion on a trip to California will be terror. Her route, fear. Her destination, quite unknown.
This is another episode I had seen before, and I have the same reaction now as I did back then when I first saw it. The first half of this episode I don't think is that great, but man, this really goes to very interesting places. In 1960, stories about hitchhikers were more original, but it's almost like Rod Serling knew that if you just had a hitchhiker who was a serial killer, that's where people think this episode is going. In this case, Nan Adams gets a flat tire while she's traveling from New York City to Los Angeles. Quite a long trip. In fact, it might be the longest trip you could possibly take in the United States. She gets a spare tire put on by a mechanic, and then she sees a guy hitchhiking. She drives a little further, and she sees him hitchhiking on the road again. This is impossible. How is he possibly catching up to her? She stops to get some gas. She sees him again. She keeps seeing this hitchhiker, who creepily leers at her, hitching his finger and trying to lean into her car. He's mostly silent, though he does speak and ask her if she's going west. So this leads to her coming to a gas station late at night, which is closed, and she meets another character. And this is the best part of the episode. The interaction between Nan and this sailor who's going the same direction she is extremely unnerving. He's not even given a name. He's just known as the sailor. And if there's one complaint I'd have this episode, I wanted to see more of him, since he leaves in a bit of an anticlimactic way. Driving scenes in movies from the 50s and 60s tend to look a bit dated, but they do a good job with this one. They use some outdoor locations, some sets. Most of the time that she's driving is filmed on a set as well. But it doesn't look as artificial as it does in a lot of film noir movies, where you just obviously see they're moving the steering wheel back and forth unrealistically, as if when you drive you just do left, right, left, right, left, right. This one takes place at night, so it's less noticeable. It's very claustrophobic. The sailor sits very close to Nan Adams. He's obviously attracted to her. Interesting seeing how they get around the sensors. He's obviously trying to sleep with her, and she actually offers to spend more time with him because she wants someone else in this car with her in case she sees this hitchhiker again, since she thinks she's being stalked by a ghost or a serial killer or something. So she wants another person in the car with her.
Take me, for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country at a nice steady clip of about 45 miles an hour. Couldn't a fellow like you, standing beside the road waiting for a lift, beat me to town after town, provided he got picked up every time in a car going about 65 to 70 miles an hour?
Lady looks like a movie star. Do you know what the odds are for even one guy believing me?
But she's also driving like a moron, since every time she sees this hitchhiker, she tries to hit him with her car and ends up crashing. She does this twice, and the sailor basically wants to get out. When you first see this episode, you're not really sure what's going to happen. Is the serial killer going to be the sailor? Is she really the bad person the entire time? It's a great dynamic. It also unfortunately makes this one not as fun to watch on the second or third time. I've seen it 3 times. Because once you know where it's going, the tension between them is much less palpable. Now, Nan Adams is played by Inger Stevens, who is Rachel Warren in Hang 'em High, a great Clint Eastwood western that tends to get overlooked. He did it right after the Man with No Name series was concluded. And she was also Katie in the TV show The Farmer's Daughter in 101 episodes. She's very attractive, which the sailor comments on, and she had a bright future in Hollywood. Unfortunately, in 1970, she died of a drug-induced suicide. So while in her role, she gives a very cheery disposition, even in this one. As tends to happen in Hollywood, there were some demons. So there's really 3 sections to this episode. The one where she's seeing the hitchhiker, the interaction between her and the sailor, which is my favorite. It'll last for about 7 minutes, and then at the end we learn, and I guess I'll put a spoiler here, I'm not going to ruin the entire episode, but we learn that she actually is a ghost herself. So this has much less to do with a hitchhiker being a ghost, which he is, or him being a serial killer, and really more of a story about a woman traveling across country and how nerve-wracking that would be, especially in the So I think this is a good episode. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. But it just has a little too many dips. I love the part where she's interacting with a sailor. And their dialogue between them is tense because you can tell he's coming off creepy. He wants to sleep with her, but then she ends up driving you crazy and scaring him. But there's too much in the beginning of the hitchhiker just showing up. I mean, they do this scene like 10 times. It's like, we get it. Hitchhiker shows up, she gets scared. He goes, ah! The hitchhiker shows up again, she gets scared. He goes, ah! They do this way too much. Especially when they have a great character that's going to come in halfway through the episode. I also don't really understand the twist that much. Okay, everyone's a ghost. Maybe the hitchhiker's going to take her up to heaven. As well as an episode a lot of people talk about in Season 1. And I'll do a top 5 best and worst after the end of Season 1. So while the Twilight Zone only has 5 seasons, there are a total of 156 episodes. Which means for Season 1, we're going to get a total of 36 episodes. Crazy. So we got some fun facts for this episode. Actually, we have a ton. We'll only go over some of them. So the production of this episode cost $47,000 in 1960. And if you times that by 10, you'll get around today's money, so $470,000. It was quite expensive. They actually used tons of outdoor locations in this one, not just one set. It also says in the original story the character of Non was a male, and Rod Serling made the totally correct decision to change it to a female, because he believed that a female in the situation would be reacted to more with feeling by audiences. Because if it's just a dude traveling across the country and some guy's hitchhiking, like, who cares? Just ignore him. It may be weird, like, how's he catching up to me, but... And this was originally a radio play that Orson Welles covered in 1942 in a series called Suspense. And at the bottom, it says the character Non was named after Rod Serling's daughter. Another deep cut. Well, next up is the episode The Fever. Episode 17 of Season 1 that takes on gambling. And it's a grand old time seeing these old school slot machines that actually give out tokens, as opposed to the slot machines now that just give you a piece of paper. Not as satisfying. And check out the other series we're currently covering. Are You Afraid of the Dark, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Black Mirror, and Cowboy Bebop. We're doing every single episode. Thanks a lot.